Hello. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't you know it that of all the days to have technology issues and all of the minutes, I went live 3 times today and I'm just now being able to get on with my telephone. So my computer decided to restart and then it decided that, or actually Facebook's just decided that it doesn't want me to go live today. So we're going to do this on my phone instead, so I apologize for being late, and I will try to figure out how to get this on a stand so that you're not looking up my nose, but hopefully you guys will forgive me my tech issues, and we can continue on here. Well, that's not going to work. Well, I guess you have to look up my nose. I'll do my best to, here, I'll just hold it. Here we go. Hi, you guys. I'm Michelle Scott. Not quite the way I had intended to start out this video today, but hopefully this will work in here and you guys can hear me okay. So when you jump on, just give me like a thumbs up or a 1 or something like that and let me know that you can hear me. I don't know how to see comments on my phone. I haven't actually done it on my phone before like this, so we will see how this goes. But welcome. I wanted to say I've watched a couple of the other videos today. I was just watching Xena right before I joined, and gosh, what an amazing person. Just several of the messages she was sharing is similar to what I'm going to be talking about too, and it's just about being more yourself and really that there's nothing else you can do. We spend a lot of time in our lives trying to be something that we're not, and we just have to really spend more time being ourselves, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. And I apologize because my computer had to restart. I got to get back to my notes so I make sure I don't miss anything for you. Let me get in here just one quick second, because of course, you know, everything was all set and ready to go, and then wouldn't you know it, technology just has different ideas for us sometimes. I'm an energy worker, and so I actually find that this happens sometimes, especially when we're a little bit nervous doing something that we don't do often or we haven't done before, that the technology angels come down and play with us. So hi Christy, thanks for joining. We're gonna get going here though. The thing that I want you to know is that being yourself is your superpower. You may not know that and you may not believe it, but that's your biggest superpower, is being yourself, because there's no one else like you on earth, and if you don't love you for who you are, who is going to? So that's what we want to talk about tonight, is how you can be more yourself, and how you can let that weird light shine so other people can find you too. Because the thing is that the more you be yourself, the more you give other people permission to do the same thing. And that just raises the light everywhere. And that's partly what this Quantum Summit is all about this weekend, is how we can all raise the vibe. And what a great way to celebrate your birthday, Christy. I'm really happy that you're doing this. And thank you for letting us all come in and share this wonderful time together for your birthday. I'm going to go through 10 ways that you can be more yourself. And the first way I want to talk about might surprise you, and it's actually about nourishing your body. One of the most important things you can do is nourish yourself. And that means lots of things to lots of different people. The most obvious one is, of course, food, because everybody needs food. And the thing that you can do, to love yourself more, is to eat nourishing food, and whatever that means to you. It could be, it doesn't matter what kind of dietary plan that you follow, as long as you're eating healthy and balanced and as close to whole natural foods that you can. Yeah, and like Christy said, that it's more ways to love yourself and to love others too. Part of nourishing yourself too is drinking clean water. Not everybody has the luxury of having access to clean water, but if you do, it's one of the best things you can do for yourself, just to nourish your cells in your body, just to get, we're made up of mostly water, so to be able to nourish yourself with extra water and good clean water. Getting outside for natural light can be difficult for us here in the Northwest, because it's like I went out for a walk earlier today and it was hailing. I chose the exact wrong time to go outside, but that was okay. It was still a really nice walk anyway, and I got to go spend some time with my dogs, and we just rushed back and made it a little bit of a run instead of just a walk. But if you can get outside even for 15 minutes every day just to get some fresh air and some natural light, that is going to help you a ton. And I apologize, I'm shaking a little bit here on my phone. I'm going to try and hold this a little bit more still. And then also making sure that you get adequate minerals and vitamins and stuff. It doesn't mean you necessarily need to take vitamins or supplements or things like that, but if you don't already know, our food supply is a little bit depleted in nutrients and stuff, and so sometimes we do have to supplement a little bit extra for that, and there's lots of ways to do that. You can take vitamins, you can take minerals. I just found out about a new skincare product that actually replenishes your skin from the outside in, which is amazing. I'm finding good results with that. So, you know, if you have a good way, I would love to know what your favorite way is to nourish yourself. You can put a little post below on that. Number 2 on my list is moving your body. That also might seem like an obvious one, but it's so important to move your body, and it doesn't have to be exercise. It can be whatever brings you joy. And so that's what I would actually encourage you to do. And if you are taking notes along while we're doing this video, it would be great to start making that list now. One of my mentors called it a movement menu, and I really like that concept of that you have a menu of items to choose from every day, because sometimes you don't feel like going for a run, or sometimes you don't want to go row, or you don't want to box, or whatever your different choices are. So if you have a menu of options to choose from, you can choose every day to find something. And again, it's just like that 15 minutes even. I mean, they say to get a bunch of cardio, but if you can at least get 15 minutes in every day, and hint, you can combine 2 things at once and get your natural light in at the same time if you go for a walk. So I would love to hear what some of your favorite kinds of movement are. Some of the things I wrote down are like, I just love going for walks, and like I said, going out with my dogs is always a rewarding thing, and it's really nice actually with my husband being home right now. I'm getting some extra walks in with him as well. So if you have a favorite activity that you like to do, some sort of movement. Oh, and actually in my group, we have a group called Be More You. We're doing dance parties every Wednesday, and that's been super fun. It's an unexpected fun thing. I didn't know that I would actually really enjoy dancing with people, and doing the dance party with some other ladies in the group has been a super fun time. Hiking or Pilates, really good. Good, Julian. Some of the things I wrote down too were just stretching. Like, I was watching Savannah's video earlier, and it was really nice to be able to do some stretching with her. That was super helpful. It's some of the things you can think about too is what did you like to do as a kid? A friend of mine down the street actually made a hopscotch chalk thing, like a sidewalk chalk thing, outside her house a couple weeks ago, and I thought that was super fun. Dancing, yeah, it's super fun. If you guys want to join the dance party, I'll put the link in the below the in the comments below. Another thing, believe it or not, actually doing breath work can be an actually really good workout for you too, and it can be really, I mean, it's always good for your body to breathe, but it can actually, there's, I forget what it's called. I'm not a yoga specialist, but I think it's Kundalini breathing. If someone knows, you can comment that below. But there's a fun thing going on right now too. I don't know if any of you have heard, but every night at 8 o'clock, there's a howl in or howl out. Actually, you go outside and howl with your neighbors. I'll put a post to that too. I just found out about that group the other day, and that seems like a super fun thing to do. But I'm on here at 8 o'clock tonight, so I couldn't go out and do that tonight. But that seems like fun, especially if you have kids. I think they would really enjoy that. And more and more people are doing it, and they're saying that they're finding that their neighbors are coming out and enjoying it too. And that's actually a really good way to release some of your possibly pent up stress and stuff right now too. So the next thing on my list is just getting adequate sleep. And some of these, again, it might seem a little bit obvious, but getting adequate sleep is oftentimes overlooked, believe it or not. And there's lots of ways that you can ensure that you're getting really adequate sleep. One of the most important things actually two important things is to have like an evening routine. People always talk about the morning routine. If you haven't heard about that, there's a thing called morning pages that you can do. But it's really important to do an evening routine too, because it's time for you to be able to wind down and just prepare yourself to go into that nice deep sleep. Some of the things you can do to prepare your environment for conducive sleep is to turn your devices off like at least an hour or so before you go to bed. You want to have, generally the recommended actually, and what I prefer is having a cool dark room. My husband does not mind lights on in the bedroom, so there's electronics all over the place in there with, I swear every single plug-in has a light on it. But the more of those kinds of things you can turn off, the darker you can have your room, and it doesn't have to be cold, but cool is really generally recommended. And then, as clean and comfortable a bed as you can manage. We just recently bought a big foam topper. It was like, I think it was like a 3-inch topper. And I found that it was actually too much for me. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd feel like I was stuck in the middle of the bed. But my husband loves it, so we ended up cutting it in half, and I found myself an 1.5-inch one. And now we both sleep really great. It's like having our own Sleep Number bed, but it was only like a couple $100 instead of $3,000 or whatever those beds cost. If you have one, I'm envious though. We were looking at buying one. And then again, just creating a space that and a time in the evening that is conducive to winding down. I actually wear earplugs at night too. I have for probably 20 years, just because I'm a light sleeper, and I find that having earplugs helps. So any of those kinds of tips that you can find. Dick, do you have a tip that you use for sleeping, for making your sleep better? I think probably my favorite tip is making the bed comfortable. That was the biggest thing I think that really helped me. The next thing on the list, number 4, is addressing the stress. And you've probably heard this before, but I actually, if you guys are open to it, I would love to do this real time with you right now. It's really important to identify the stressors that you have in your life and see if you can separate them from the stress itself, because obviously we're all going through this worldwide shared experience right now that's not very much fun, called COVID-19, and that it is a stressor in all of our lives, but it doesn't have to cause us stress on a daily basis. So if it's one of those kinds of things, if we can separate those things, we can find out what's causing us stress and take action on the things that we can take action on, and let go of the things that we can't take action on. So for example, with the COVID stuff, we can wake up every day. My husband and I are both considered in the high risk group for the COVID-19. And so I could wake up every morning and panic and fear about maybe getting it today, or I can do what I've been doing and wake up and do the best I can to take care of myself and, stay in my house and kind of shelter in place, and choose to do all that I can to bring light to this world and to myself, and choose into. That's the thing. A lot of this is around choice. We all have choice, and it's important to remember that you always have choice. Taking a time to list out your stressors. So I would encourage you right now just to kind of make a list of the stressors that that you have in your life. Maybe they're different right now than they usually are too. They could be that you have kids at home that are driving you crazy and that they're going crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she was saying that her daughter, who is generally very, very vibrant and super happy, is starting to go into depression because she's just not allowed to be around people, and that's really hard on her. So that could be a big stressor. But how you choose to deal with that doesn't have to necessarily cause you stress. And it's different when you have children. You want to take care of them as best you can, but take a minute and just list out those stresses, and then look at the ones that you have listed out and see which ones you have control over and which ones you don't. COVID-19, none of us have control over. What we do have control over is how we respond to it and what we do in our own lives. right now doesn't mean that we have to stay in our house all the time, just because there's this terrible thing out there. But it does mean that we just have to be careful about ourselves and our loved ones. Maybe, trying to think of another stressor. Like there might be job stress right now. If you're used to having, you're used to going to work every day and you're not able to, and you're facing some financial problems and things, the stressor is the financial problem, but the stress comes from the worry. And so that's just one example of seeing if you can figure out how to separate those out and see what you have control over. You don't have control over whether you can go to your job right now or not, but you do have control over how you deal with everything that you have coming your way. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but the thing I want to know too is just like, what's one action you can actually take tomorrow? Today it's Friday night at 8:30 p.m. so it might be hard to take some actions tonight, but when you look at your list of things that you can take action on, what's something you can take action on tomorrow that might actually help you lessen the stress in your life a little bit? Oh, Julianne, thanks for sharing. Money, past relationships, current relationships. Is there something in one of those items that you can actually, well, first of all, is there some of those that you can let go of because they're not something that you have control over? And then secondly, is there any of those that you can actually take action on to help relieve that stress so that you don't have to continue to feel that? Because the thing is that, like, is the stress more important to continue to focus on and rob yourself of your vibrancy, or is it more important to take an action that might even be uncomfortable, just to move past this? It's just a good question to be able to ask yourself. Next thing on the list is something way more fun than stress, and it's what makes you unique. This whole thing is all about how to be more you, and one of the things that I think is really important is to really focus on what makes us unique. We often don't think about that. We think what makes us unique makes us stand apart and makes us weird and different. But what makes you unique is, again, like I was saying at the first, is your superpower. So what I would like you to do, and if you're open to doing it right now too, is to make a list of 10 things that makes you unique. You might find this difficult to do. A lot of people do. And if you have a hard time finding 10, then your homework is to do 20. Some of the things you can look at is like, what are some of the skill sets you have? What are you naturally good at? What are some of your hobbies? What are some of your, like some of the foods you like to eat, or some of the schooling that you did, or places that you've traveled that maybe other people haven't gone to before? What are some of your hobbies and skill sets and things like that? And I think, if you look at all those different categories, then before long, you will see that you have quite the long list, and probably more than 20 that make you unique. And then start to plan to do some of those things every day. And focus on those things. So like if you have a hobby that you're really good at that no one else is, maybe you could even teach someone else how to do that, just to keep yourself occupied right now, since we're all a little bit captive audience. But I would love to know if you have 2 or 3 things that you feel make you unique. I would love to know that. A couple of things that make me unique is that I have a bachelor's degree in environmental science. I'm also a florist, and I'm a certified alignment coach, and I'm about to get certified in essential oils. So I have a really varied background, and I think that makes me pretty unique. Maybe not, but if you think it makes me unique, give me a 1, will ya? And then the next thing is a similar kind of list. It's what are you passionate about? The more you can focus on these things that make you unique and that you're passionate about, the more you can start to be yourself and feel comfortable being yourself, because you'll realize how it just makes you special. It's not just that you're unique, you're special because of your uniqueness. So to find your to find your passions, you can focus on anything. It's generally what your values are. So it could be like family or pets, or maybe you value working out, and that's a passion of yours. Excuse me. Let me take a drink of water real quick. But when you can think about the passions that you enjoy and that you are passionate about, I don't know how else to say that. The more time you spend on those things, the more joy you will have, and the more you'll naturally feel like being yourself. And you'll draw other people in too, by doing that. So what I would like to know is, on your passionate and unique list, what's something that you might be willing to do tomorrow off that list? If you would comment below, I would be awesome, just so I know that there's still someone out there. The next one is working on your mindset. And what I want you to do is tell me right now, what are you afraid of in those previous lists we were just talking about, the things that make you unique and that make you passionate, or that you're passionate about? What are you afraid of by being those things, or by engaging in those things? So if you are passionate about your pets, what are you afraid of about sharing pictures of your pets? Or if one of your unique things or your hobbies is that you, I'm trying to think of something, you like to paint. How come you don't share your paintings with people and let them see the wonderful paintings that you do? Nature, that's wonderful, Julianne. I love that. What do you like to do in nature? While I'm waiting for you to answer that, I'll say too that when you start working on your mindset, one of the things that you can do is start focusing in on when you're comparing yourself to others. What's a WLS graduate? I don't know what that is. I want to know. But no, so one of the things, one of the ways you can really step into your own power is to stop comparing yourself to others. But it really is, the first step is to notice when you're doing it. We all do it. We compare ourselves to people on TV, to people in magazines, to our friends, to our coworkers. And if you start to notice when you're doing that, you can stop yourself and go, okay, well, wait a second. I'm pretty awesome the way I am. I have all these really wonderful skills. I have these wonderful things that I know that no one else does, that I can teach, whatever the particular thing is. But I actually was noticing that I was doing that right before I jumped on this live. I'm like, oh gosh, there's been all these amazing speakers today. What if no one likes what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, I have some pretty cool stuff that I have to say too, so I'll just jump on anyway, and hopefully not be too nervous. And of course, then all my technology failed, but hopefully I'm not too shaky here with my phone and it's not making you guys sick. And then for the mindset stuff too, reading affirmations is actually a good one. Do you know that you can actually make your own affirmations? Women's leadership graduate. Oh, that's amazing, Julianne. I'll have to talk to you more about that. And how come you're afraid? Oh, you're afraid to be amazing because you're a graduate. That's a pretty good one. That would be a really good one to explore a little bit more. Sure, I would love to. Thanks, Julianne. So back to the affirmations. Do you know that you can make your own affirmations? A lot of people read other people's affirmations and they kind of fall flat because, just like if you're feeling, I'll just talk for myself. If I'm feeling overweight one day and feeling a little extra fat, saying I'm skinny and beautiful isn't going to work because I'm not, But if I can make my own where I'm like, I'm learning to be more kind to myself. That would be a really great affirmation for me because it's true. I am learning to be more kind to myself, and that can help. That kind of affirmation can help just bring you up a little bit. So affirmations are a good thing. And if you need to find more ways to love yourself, just go refer back to 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's about nourishing yourself and sleeping well and things like that. One of the things too is it's really important to set boundaries. It's not only important to say no, but it's also important to say yes. But learning to say no as a complete sentence is a really hard thing for some people to do, especially for myself. For example, I've been a people pleaser my whole life, and so learning to say no has been a difficult thing, because I've always been afraid that saying no might offend somebody or let them down in some way. So setting boundaries is super duper important. I was just trying to look at my notes and see what I had. I wrote something about that. Oh, so yeah, boundaries, especially again for people pleasers like me, boundaries can be something that can be really scary because, like I said, it can make us feel like we're letting someone down or disappointing someone. But for example, if someone steps on your foot, you're going to say, please get off my foot. Doesn't matter why they're doing it. It could be that they're blind. It could be that they didn't see your foot there. It could be that they grew up in a household of footsteppers. But it doesn't matter. It hurts your foot and you're going to ask them to get off. And it's not rude to ask them to get off because they just have to get off your foot. It's a boundary that most people have. If you come from a long line of footsteppers, maybe you don't have that boundary, but that's an example of a boundary. And boundaries of saying no shouldn't be any different, because we all have things that are important to us and values that are important to us. And if those values are being stepped on, then you should be able to say, get off my foot, get off my boundary. And that should be good enough. You shouldn't even have to explain it. So that's why saying no as a complete sentence is a really good skill to learn. Another really good way to start being yourself more is to create space to be yourself. I don't know if you're like me, but I have an overpacked schedule, and it's because I do it to myself. I have all these things I want to learn, all these people I want to talk to, all these things I want to do, and I just overpack my schedule. And so I don't even have time to learn all the things I want to learn and see all the people I want to see. And so I actually just was today, also, I don't know if you were like me, but I had 92, I think, browser tabs open. And so I had to close down a bunch of browser tabs. Maybe that's why I was having electronic issues today. I don't know, but just creating space, mental, physical, and schedule space in your life is really important, just so that you have the time and literal space to be able to actually be more yourself. Letting go of the excess, it can be things in your physical space, and for me, it's one of the biggest things is my time. One of the mind shifts you can make around creating space, if you find it difficult to get rid of things, is instead of saying, what do I need to get rid of? You can ask, what do I want to keep? That's just a really different kind of mind shift. There's, if anyone's interested, there's lots of different books out there and different people to follow on how to clean your space, your physical space. But that's one of the biggest mind shifts that I found, is that what do I actually want to hang on to helps the rest of that go away a lot easier. And it just creates space for me to be able to do the things that I actually want to do, the things that I say are important. The last thing I want to talk about for being more you is gratitude. I'm sure several of the other people have talked about that today. I haven't had a chance to watch everybody's, but gratitude is the most important thing that we can do in our lives. And it's really important to start and end the day with gratitude, because, you woke up today, you're breathing, and you're going to have a day, and you can choose it to be wonderful, or you can choose it to not be. But even just being grateful for your slippers that you put on, or your morning coffee, or that your dog came and licked you in the face or something like that. Being grateful for even the small things are so important. So if you don't already, I really recommend having a journal or some kind of place that you can write those things down, or even share them on Facebook. If you have anything you're grateful for now, I would love to see those. But just, take 5 minutes even to notice something outside that you're grateful for. Like Julianne was saying, she loves being outside, so I'm sure she has lots of things that she can talk about that she's grateful for along her walks and being out in nature. But it can be something as simple as just telling someone that you're grateful for them being there too. So I hope some of these tips have been useful for you. I have them all listed out in a little booklet that will go out in the PDFs later if you guys have signed up to receive those. So Thank you, Julianne. I appreciate it. And I'm glad that I at least finally got to come on via my phone. And I'm thankful, I'm grateful for technology actually working. But I thank you all for being here, and appreciate Christy for doing this quantum weekend. And I can't wait to see everybody else's presentations as well. So wait for one more second, see if anyone else has anything they want to say. But I appreciate you guys being here. This has been super fun. What a neat idea. I think that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I hope you have a beautiful evening, beautiful weekend. And thank you, Julianne. And I will look forward to seeing you all this weekend on the different talks. Bye. Go be more yourself.